All right, let's jump right into this explainer and explore one of the most radical and frankly mind-bending texts on conflict resolution ever recorded. We're looking at an ancient Buddhist text known as the Kakacūpama Sutta, or the simile of the saw. Now, whether you're dealing with a deeply frustrating coworker, navigating those endless internet arguments, or just trying to keep your cool in rush hour traffic, this ancient source material offers an absolute masterclass in psychological resilience. Today, we are going to break down its incredibly demanding framework for mastering your own anger. But to truly understand how to build an unshakable mind, we first need to ask ourselves a pretty uncomfortable question about our own patience. You know, it's so easy to think of ourselves as kind, reasonable people when everything's going fine. But how much pressure does it actually take to break that facade? Does it take a massive betrayal, or just a few poorly timed words from someone who knows exactly how to push your buttons? Keep that question rolling around in the back of your mind as we go through this framework.
Section 1. The Spark of Conflict. So, the source material kicks off with a completely relatable problem. We meet a monk named Phagguna who is getting fiercely defensive of his social circle. And this brilliantly illustrates the trap of human attachment. Basically, Phagguna was spending way too much time socializing with the local nuns. If anyone criticized the nuns, Phagguna became furious and started arguing. Conversely, if anyone criticized Phagguna, well, the nuns became furious and started arguing right back. They were caught in this endless, exhausting loop of reciprocal anger. The Buddha actually pulls Phagguna aside and points out how easily our attachments to people, or honestly even to our own reputations, just instantly trigger our anger. He tells Phagguna he has to train his mind not to change and his mouth not to utter harsh words, completely regardless of the criticism coming his way.
Interestingly enough, before even directly addressing the mechanics of the mind, the Buddha points out that physical discipline is the absolute necessary foundation here. He talks about simple eating habits, specifically eating at a single sitting. The text compares a physically disciplined person to a well-trained horse pulling a chariot on a smooth, level road. The driver doesn't even need to use a whip, they just gently guide the reins. By simplifying your physical habits and experiencing that physical lightness, it becomes significantly easier to prune away unwholesome thoughts. It's kind of like a forester cutting away the weeds just to let a strong tree grow. Section 2. The Illusion of Calm. To see how this builds into the ultimate psychological test, we look to a housewife named Vedehikā. What's really fascinating here is the stark contrast between public perception and private reality. So Vedehikā had a flawless public image in the city of Savatthi. Literally everyone thought she was the absolute epitome of grace. But she had a really sharp, observant servant named Kali, and Kali secretly wondered if her mistress was truly peaceful from within, or if she was merely calm because Kali was highly efficient and did all her chores perfectly. Basically, was Vedehikā fundamentally peaceful or just unbothered because her environment was completely controlled for her?
To test this theory out, Kali decides to deliberately provoke Vedehikā, and over just 3 days, the entire illusion of Vedehikā's gentle nature completely unravels. On the very first day, Kali intentionally slept in. Vedehikā frowned and questioned her annoyance super clear. On the second day, Kali slept in even later. Vedehikā's mask slipped a bit further, and she actually shouted harsh, ugly words at her servant. On the third day, Kali slept in extremely late, and well, Vedehikā completely lost her mind.
In a fit of absolute unhinged rage, Vedehikā screamed, "I will break your head." She grabbed a heavy door bar and struck Kali violently, drawing blood. Bleeding and crying, Kali ran right out into the neighborhood, showing literally everyone exactly what the quote-unquote peaceful Vedehikā had done. In a matter of minutes, Vedehikā had permanently destroyed her own peaceful reputation in the city, totally exposing her true aggressive nature to the entire community.
So, the absolutely crucial takeaway here is this. The text states clearly that you cannot judge someone's, or even your own, true character when things are easy. I mean, anyone can be polite when their coffee is hot, their commute is fast, and everyone in the room agrees with them. The Buddha notes that true peace, true character, is only proven when you are actively struck by displeasing, uncomfortable, and frankly offensive words.
Section 3. 5 Ways People Speak.
To prepare us for exactly this kind of pressure, the text provides a really comprehensive framework. Whenever someone speaks to you, whether it's a boss giving you harsh feedback or just a total stranger yelling at you on the street, it always falls into these 5 categories. They might speak to you at the wrong time. They might be completely lying. They might be screaming. The words might be entirely useless, and they might be speaking with deep inner malice.
But here is the massive secret. It doesn't matter. Regardless of which of these 5 ways someone speaks to you, your internal job remains exactly the same.
Now, the Buddha's required response here is incredibly demanding. Like, if someone lies to you with deep malice, you must move through these very specific steps. Step 1, your mind must remain unagitated. Step 2, you must not utter a single harsh word in return. Step 3, and this is the wild one, you must actually remain sympathetic to the person attacking you. And step 4, you must radiate boundless loving kindness, first to them and then to the entire world. This isn't just about biting your tongue, you know? It's about fundamentally refusing to let another person's toxicity live rent-free in your own mind.
Section 4. Cultivating an unshakable mind.
Now, right about now, you might be thinking, okay, that literally sounds impossible. And you wouldn't be wrong, which is exactly why the text uses these incredibly vivid metaphors to anchor our minds. Just imagine a man trying to dig up the entire deep earth with a single hand hoe, or trying to paint a beautiful picture in the empty air, or, get this, trying to boil the massive Ganges River with a tiny little grass torch. It's impossible. If you make your mind as vast as the earth, the air, or the river, anyone projecting their petty anger onto you is only going to exhaust themselves entirely, while you remain completely untouched.
And that brings us right to the final, brilliant metaphor, the cat skin bag. Imagine a leather bag that has been perfectly tanned, rubbed incredibly soft, and is as pliable as cotton. If you hit it with a stiff stick, it doesn't make a loud ringing sound, it just absorbs the blow softly. Your mind should be exactly like that. When harsh words strike you, do not be like a hard metal bell that violently rings back with the loud noise of retaliation. Be the soft bag. Absorb the impact without echoing that anger right back into the world.
Section 5. The simile of the saw. So this entire framework has been building up to the single most extreme, radical mental exercise imaginable. The Buddha challenges his followers to vividly imagine the most horrific, violent, and unfair scenario possible. Picture being captured by ruthless bandits deep in the forest, and they begin to slowly dismember you with a 2-handed saw. It is literally the ultimate test of physical and mental endurance. He states firmly that even in that excruciatingly extreme moment, if you harbor even a single shred of malice or hatred toward those bandits, you have failed to maintain the practice. You are not carrying out the teaching. You must still radiate boundless loving kindness even to the people who are actively destroying you.
And this perfectly contrasts Vedehika's fragile, conditional peace with the radical, unconditional peace required to truly master your own mind. Remember Vedehika? She had conditional peace. She was calm only as long as her servant woke up early and everything went her way. But the Buddha is demanding unconditional peace, a peace that simply does not shatter, no matter how maliciously the world behaves around you.
0. 0 is the exact amount of malice you are permitted to hold on to. Now, obviously this makes it an incredibly challenging standard for human behavior, but honestly, it's also profoundly liberating. Because if you can train your mind to remain unagitated under the metaphor of the saw, then the minor annoyances of daily life, a rude email, a bad traffic jam, a sarcastic comment, they suddenly lose absolutely all of their power over you. So as you navigate today's fast-paced, highly polarized world, ask yourself how you will choose to react when your patience is inevitably tested. Because let's face it, it will be tested. Will you let your peace be conditional, completely dictated by how perfectly others behave? Or will you build a mind so vast, so disciplined, that it absorbs the strikes of the world without making a single sound? The next time someone brings conflict to your door, remember the empty air and just let their anger exhaust itself on your unshakable calm.